Hello everyone, welcome back again to Liverpool Report today. We've got the latest updates on our beloved club Liverpool. But before we dive in, make sure to subscribe so you never miss a moment of Liverpool Report news. Let's get started. The circumstances were very different, but Liverpool fans of a certain age will remember when a Steven Gerrard move to Chelsea seemed odds on. Instead, Gerrard decided to stay at Anfield, signed a new deal, and was there for another decade. A similar outcome for Trent Alexander-Arnold is not unthinkable. It would be too simplistic to suggest Alexander-Arnold might be having second thoughts about a move to the Spanish capital just because Arsenal ripped Real Madrid apart the other night. After all, it was only one game, and Real Madrid is still Real Madrid. It is still one of the most famous, most glamorous clubs in the world, with a fantastic stadium in a fantastic city. And yes, as people never tire of telling us, when Real Madrid come calling, it is hard to resist. Plus, a move to Madrid on a free transfer would be extremely lucrative for Alexander-Arnold. But the humbling at the Emirates was a reality check for those who have put this Real Madrid team into some sort of rarefied bracket. Commentators who watch them week in, week out, have been telling us this current edition of Real Madrid is vulnerable and nowhere near as formidably potent as some would have us believe. The loss to Arsenal was their fifth in the Champions League this season. As well as being battered by Arsenal, they were comfortably outplayed by Liverpool and Milan. In their last two matches against Barcelona, one in the Spanish Super Cup and the other in La Liga, they have conceded 9 and scored only 2 in a pair of hammerings. They trail Barca by 4 points at the top of the La Liga table. And of course, whether they are winning or losing, there is daily speculation about the future of Carlo Ancelotti. At Anfield, there is a stability about the Premier League champions-elect that has been reinforced by the news that Virgil van Dijk and Mohamed Salah are expected to sign new 2-year contracts. This is a very good Liverpool side, only edged out of the Champions League by a very exciting Paris Saint-Germain team, and they are going to win the Premier League by a considerable margin. Apart from a misstep in the FA Cup at Plymouth Argyle, Arneslot's first season at the helm has been a very impressive one. Bar the odd appearance from Federicochiesa, it is a season he has negotiated with the squad that was left to him by Jurgen Klopp. You can expect significant recruitment at Anfield this summer, and in all probability, the recruitment will include a replacement for Alexander-Arnold. At the age of 26 and having been at Liverpool since he was a boy, a move to Madrid would represent an exciting challenge for Alexander-Arnold. While they have not been as convincing this season, it is still a team with plenty of world-class talent and a history like no other, and all the noise from Spain suggests it is pretty much a done deal. But perhaps Real Madrid are not as irresistible as many seem to think. Perhaps there is still time for Trent to have a change of heart. Darwin Nunez has been told to consider leaving Liverpool this summer, with former Premier League star Gus Poyet claiming the striker is treated differently at Anfield to some of his teammates. Nunez has been heavily linked with a potential summer move, having failed to cement himself as a regular starter under arneslot. He has made just 8 Premier League starts so far this season, while his record of 7 goals across all competitions has attracted criticism. I think he needs to make a decision this summer on whether he's happy with his role at Liverpool or he wants something different, Poyet told bettingexpert.com. He's the #1 striker for the national team, and he's the kind of player you don't want to play against. But with Liverpool, he's in and out, and he gets treated differently to other Liverpool players. Cody Gakpo can go 10 to 15 games with no goal, and it's not a problem. Nunez, it's always a problem. It's difficult to deal with, and it's personal. It's up to him as to whether he's happy with his role, and his family being in England, dealing with the scrutiny. Liverpool is a big club, and moving countries is difficult. Poyet's comments come after Slot publicly criticised the forward's attitude and work rate after a poor miss in a 2-2 draw with Aston Villa in February. I would prefer him to score, but the word chance says it all, Slot said after the game. It's a chance, so it's not 100% sure that the ball goes in and players miss chances. That I can accept, but what was a bit harder for me to accept was his behaviour after that chance. I think it got too much in his head, where he wasn't the usual Darwin that works his off and makes sure he helps the team. That is something we will talk about. When quizzed further on his comments the following week, Slot added, "First of all, I helped him by saying, you can miss a chance. I wasn't only hard on him, but for the second time in a row, I wasn't happy with his work effort, against Wolves, and against Villa. I always try to be honest with my players and be honest as I can to you guys as well, where I always try to protect my players. So I don't say he never worked hard. I know him differently. I know him at Villa at home, where he made a 100-metre sprint and scored a goal. I know him when he came on at City at home and was pressing really aggressively and wins the ball back and we score. But I can't accept if a player doesn't give everything. That is clear. I can accept it once, but twice was a bit too much. That's why I addressed it. Not that I'm all of a sudden very angry with him. I don't mind that he missed a chance. I'd have loved him to score it. And I know he will eventually score. But if you miss a chance, you need to be fighting for the team. I'm not saying he didn't do that at all, but it wasn't the usual Darwin, the one that is loved by the fans. That is mainly because he always works so hard. Liverpool need a new centre-half this summer, even if Virgil van Dijk stays. Van Dijk claims there has been progress in his contract talks with Liverpool as they try to avoid losing him on a free in June. But the Liverpool and Netherlands skipper will be 34 in July, and Liverpool need to begin the process of replacing him this summer. Liverpool need to sign someone now to take over from Van Dijk in the next 12 to 24 months. Jamie Carragher, who knows a thing or two about what it takes to be a top defender at Anfield, feels the Reds need a centre-half to take some of the pressure off him. As brilliant as Van Dijk has been this season for the champions-elect, he has looked vulnerable in their last two games. He was beaten twice by Everton's Beto in the Merseyside derby, and the Portuguese striker's first effort was disallowed for offside before his second hit the post. Van Dijk was then embarrassed by Fulham's Rodrigo Muniz as he turned him before scoring in the Cottagers' 3-2 win on Sunday. Head coach Arneslot is a massive believer in Van Dijk's centre-half pairing with Ibrahima Konate. Slot appears to have less confidence in Jarell Quansah and Joe Gomez and rarely breaks up his first-choice defensive pairing to give them game time. He was reluctant to even play Quansah at right-back, preferring the round peg of midfielder Curtis Jones in that square hole. That underlines his need for backup for Van Dijk, and Liverpool have been scouring the Premier League and Europe for reinforcements. Dean Huijsen's star is in the ascendancy at Bournemouth, and the teenager, who turns 20 on Monday, has been a revelation since his £12.8 million summer move from Juventus. Although Amsterdam-born, he grew up in Spain and impressed on his debut for his adopted country in their Nations League win over the Netherlands last month. Huijsen has a £50 million escape clause and is being watched by Real Madrid and Bayern Munich. Jarrad Branthwaite, 22, is the top English candidate, but Everton rejected Manchester United's £50 million offer last summer and want at least £70 million for the Cumbrian, who they feel is the new John Stones. That's a lot of money for a player who has yet to establish himself in England's squad, and it has gone quiet on the possibility of him moving across Stanley Park to Anfield. Eintracht Frankfurt's Aurelien Amenda is doing well in Germany and is already a Swiss international at 21. Amenda would not be cheap, and he has 4 years on his Frankfurt deal. Greece international Konstantinos Kouliarakis, 21, is having a fine first season in the Bundesliga with Wolfsburg since joining from PAOK Salonika last summer. Again, his transfer value is only going up, and Wolfsburg would want to start the bidding at £35 million. In this increasingly competitive market, and with AI recruitment on the rise, there are no bargains, and Liverpool could be set for a busy and expensive summer.